Hi, algebra students. So this is not necessarily a notes video, but this is just a reminder of solving equations for y. And so we're going to do a very quick, in class we'll do a quick warm-up to do this, but you all have just a very quick practice assignment with about 10 questions, just practicing and remembering how to solve an equation for y. So just as a reminder, over the past week or so, we've been working on solving equations, or graphing equations, not solving them, but graphing equations that look like this, that are in point-slope form. And so one of the things that we're going to be working on today is parallel and perpendicular lines, and those are going to require us to solve equations that look like this. So this is, of course, point-slope form. And it's going to require us to take point-slope form and transform it into slope-intercept form. And so we're just going to do I'm just going to do a couple of examples to remind you how to solve an equation for y, because really that's all we're doing, right? Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. And so we're trying to go from this y minus y1 equals m parenthesis x minus x1. We're trying to go from that form to get it into y equals mx plus b. And so I'm going to show you how to do that, and you're going to practice, and that way we'll be ready to take the actual notes for today. So if we want to solve this for y, again, think back to how we solve equations in general. It's always d, c, b, a, right? This is multi-step equation. So d stands for distribute, so you're always going to distribute first, just like thinking back to earlier in the year. So on this side, we've got y minus 7 still, and on this side, we're going to distribute. So that's 2x plus 2 times 3 is 6. So distribute is done. Combine like terms. There's nothing to combine over here because we've got a y and a number. Over here, we've got an x and a number, so nothing to combine. Now, we're bringing the variables to one side, but of course, we're not actually solving for x here, right? Remember, we're solving for y. So there's only one y. There's no y over here, so we don't have to bring any variables to one side, but we are going to always use inverse operations to solve. And so our last step here to get y by itself is just going to be to add 7. So we're going to add 7. Now notice here, I've got a number, like I'm adding 7 to 7 and that cancels, so I'm left with y on this side, which is good. On this side though, of course the number 7 will not add to 2x, right? Because this has 2x. With an x, these are not like terms, so we're just going to bring down the 2x. There's nothing to add to it, but we are going to add our numbers, which is 6 plus 7, and 6 plus 7 gives us 13. And so the answer to this question, solving into slope-intercept form, of course, is 2x plus 13. And notice this is in y equals mx plus b form now, whereas 2 would be the slope and 13 would be the intercept. So take a second, make sure that makes sense to you. And we're going to do one more example. So again, you're going to be given an equation. This is what you're going to practice here in just a second. You're going to be given an equation in point-slope form. And we want to solve for y. In other words, we want to get it into y equals mx plus b form. That's our goal, is to get y by itself. So again, the first thing you're always going to do is there's always parentheses on this side, so we are always going to distribute. So we're going to distribute here. We still have y minus 1 on this side. 1/4 times x is, of course, 1/4 x. And then notice here we're doing 1/4, it's minus, 1/4 times negative 12. So it is going to be minus. Well, what is 1/4 times 12? Now, you could type that in Desmos if you wanted to, but if you think about it, if you split 12 into fourths, or if you put 12 over 1 and multiply like fractions straight across, you get 12 over 4. And what is 12 divided by 4? This is a fourth of 12, is 3. So 1/4 times 12, again, you can type that in as a fraction times a whole number in Desmos, but it does give you 3. All right, the next step, of course, is to get the y by itself. So once you've distributed, all you're going to do is either add or subtract this number over here next to the y. So we add 1, it's going to cancel there. We left with y is equal to the slope and the x are going to stay the same, 1/4 x, and then negative 3 plus 1 is, of course, negative 2. And so that is your answer for solving that in y. So there's a couple of examples of how to take an equation that is not solved for y and we want to solve it for y You're going to follow the same steps. There's a quick practice assignment. There's 10 problems. Practicing that, go ahead and do that. You have 2 attempts, and then we will actually take notes for today.